Joe presents Liquid Football, sponsored by Paddy Power.
Hello, welcome to Liquid Football on Joe together with Paddy Power. It is the show that takes you inside the dressing room and puts you in the boots of the players. With me this week, Steve Sidwell and Wayne Bridge, and we're going to start obviously with the Manchester derby. Manchester United, what a week they've had. They beat Tottenham, they beat their old manager, more importantly, in Jose Mourinho, and then they beat Manchester City at the Etihad. But where's this team? Where have these performances come from?
It just goes to show how much they've underperformed of late. But as you said, the two games, one was against Jose, previous manager. A lot of them would have wanted to have got their own back on him. And then it's the Manchester derby, which, in my eyes, I think the Man United players or team, club, get up for it more than the City lads. Although the City lads have probably got more of a better record recently because of obviously probably miles ahead of them. But
maybe they've got more of a point to prove.
And that showed in the first half. I mean, first half they were devastating, wasn't they?
I think that game can sometimes go either way as well. I don't think it matters how you're performing in the league. It's all about that day, how you're feeling on that day.
Yeah, but it just feels like, I mean, you have the games against Villa and Sheffield United, and everybody's looking at it thinking, and then there were reports in the papers, Ollie's job could be on the line if he doesn't get results. And, well, maybe if he gets 4 points out of 6 against Spurs and Man City, that'll be all right. And at least as long as he wins one of them. And he comes away with 2 wins. Have you ever been in a situation where it just clicks, where suddenly you've been working on something and the manager keeps saying, just listen and it will all come together. Yeah. And then almost overnight, it feels like it works.
I think you got to have massive credit to Ollie, the way he's handled it as well the last few weeks. He's obviously at Man United, you're under pressure straight from the word go, and he had a great start. Obviously, there's been bumps in the road, but the last 2 weeks where he's come under some stick, even some of the betting, wasn't he, about losing his job, and he just batted it all away, and he's obviously said to his lads that let's keep going, keep doing what we're doing. And again, the first half against City, they was just devastating. They come out and they was like dynamic, explosive.
So good on the attack, fast.
Could have been 3 or 4 up, couldn't they?
But that's the thing. I know you're saying about derbies and results can go either way in them, but they were really good. Yeah. It wasn't just that. Well, they've turned up for this game. They've brought a bit of passion into it. It wasn't a hard fought win. They looked like the team Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been telling us that they could be.
Yeah, they just got to carry on now. It's 2 games, do you know what I mean? I don't think they should get too far ahead of themselves. But in terms of like turning a corner, I can only look at like Southampton. I know it's totally different because Man United are a top tier. I remember being at Southampton, they have 2 good results. And we never really felt like, we're going to carry on now and win a load of games. But obviously Man United is very different. There's one time at Southampton when Glenn Hoddle was manager, and it was literally, he came in and it was like a new team. And it was as we were playing good football and we believed in him. And I don't know if that's something that's happened at Man United at the moment. Those 2 good results that they can kick on from it. So I don't think they should get too excited though.
No.
But you can enjoy it.
You can enjoy it. It's like we talked about Norwich, didn't we, a while back when they beat Man City. And it's just been a downhill slope for them since that game.
It has. And it's not gone too well for Manchester City since that game either. But on Man United and on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I know you're saying it's just 2 games, but they are high-profile games that they've won. So how much credit in the bank does he get? I mean, he doesn't need to put any more credit in the bank with the fans. They've been on his side from day one and have stayed on his side more or less. But from the players as much as anything, you get a bit of credit from them as well, don't you?
Yeah, I see Ashley Young do a interview the other day, and he said that we know what we've got in house, and that's where it's key. As long as stuff stays in house and doesn't creep out, if there are little rumblings, and he said, I think it's fine lines. They've had some performances where it could have easily have gone in their favour recently, but these 2, and they've come at a good time as well. I mean, we're going to a Christmas period now where when you're playing well, and you'll know this, when you're playing well as an individual and as a team, you just want the next game. You don't really want to train, you just want the next game. And Christmas period, we know what it's like. There's games thick and fast. So what a time to go into that period.
Yeah, and as much as you know that the Christmas games are coming up, that it is going to be busy, and we've talked before, I think, about players maybe getting that extra booking that might mean they've got Boxing Day off or New Year's Day off or whatever it is. But as much as you do that, if you're playing well, are these fixtures actually you look forward to, that you think, we've got them all, they're all coming in, bring them all on?
Yeah, you want to play.
Yeah, if you're
'Cause the
playing where you
atmosphere's
definitely
always
want to
good at
play,
them.
unless you're
Yeah.
at the bottom and losing, you could do with like a couple of weeks off. But, I just think, like you said, they've been a bit unlucky, and they've had a bit of luck go their way. But I wouldn't put those 2 games down to luck, to be honest, because they played so well. But they defended well, they attacked well.
How good was Wan-Bissaka?
Oh, he's brilliant.
was
Defensively, he was great. He
like,
was
oh,
just.
wow.
He's one of them defenders that I think it wouldn't faze him who's up against him.
Yep.
He would literally show him the line. He'd show him anywhere. Go down there, try and take him on, and they wouldn't get past him.
Yeah.
Because the big question always is asked: Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Where are we now? Because that was it. Because Wan-Bissaka maybe has the defensive edge and Trent has the creative edge. Would you say?
1,000,000%. I think if you're looking at an England point of view, it all depends who you're playing against. I mean, with Trent going forward, right back, right midfield, centre midfield, he's one of the players that you could literally pick and choose where you want to put him. Whereas Wan-Bissaka defensively, 1v1, I don't know.
No, he's great. I know Trent hasn't had to defend as much this year, but I can't see him defending as well as that.
No.
Playing both.
You talked,
You could do.
exactly.
Yeah.
You talked about that Manchester United. No, you said it wasn't down to luck, and obviously it's not down to luck for Man United. But Pep Guardiola has been talking about what's been going wrong for Manchester City, and he said, look, there are several factors. Obviously, our opponents are playing really well. There are some mistakes that we've made that have cost us matches, cost us points. But he said more than anything, what's cost them are the things that they can't control. Does that seem like he's saying that luck hasn't gone their way, refereeing decisions haven't gone their way, and does that seem right?
Well, he was really angry, wasn't he, with the penalty decision? Was it Fred?
And the
Fred
Man
went
United
down.
game.
Yeah, the Man United game. I think he
was
thought
furious with that one. Yeah.
I mean, again, another day that could have gone their way. But I don't know. Are these little just silent messages, little rumblings that are coming out from Pep? I think he knows the league's done and dusted, doesn't he? They're going to throw their eggs into Champions League. It doesn't normally stay longer than 3 years, is it, Pep, as well? So that's creeping in. You've got Van Bronckhorst
He
in the
said,
background.
he said, we should put, he said, not only am I happy to stay to the end of my contract, I might even be thinking about staying for longer. So officially, that's his position on this.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me at City at the moment is I think they need another striker. As mad as it sounds, they obviously know that Aguero's injured. They got Jesus, but other than that, they haven't not got a recognised striker on the bench. So if things are going not to plan, he can't look round and go. Whereas if it's Aguero starting, he knows he can go right, Aguero off, Jesus on. Whereas now it's like you're looking around, you're maybe putting square pegs in round holes.
To look at that squad and say that though, and it's mad to think where they were last year and then what they're going through now, because it's sat there scratching your head thinking, what's wrong with them?
Also, it's not the sort of prevailing thought on Manchester City, because all the chat about City and has been all this season is if anything goes wrong, it's because defensively they're not looking right, because Laporte's injured, because Company left over the summer.
I think as well in recent games I say they're over attacking. They attack with numbers all the time, but they've been caught, haven't they? Like the break, for instance, like you'd look at United, the way that they broke on them at pace, and that's the only way that you look at clubs getting in now, or set pieces as well with City. But I still see him dropping a load of points. It sounds mad to say it as well. I still see him dropping a few more points towards the end of the season. I think Liverpool are going to run away with it. Yeah.
They haven't got the backbone like Liverpool, have they? I don't think at the back they haven't got it. Which you need if you're going to win the league, especially if you're going to challenge.
When you say the backbone, do you mean like your traditional sort of spine, or do you mean like character?
The defensively centre backs, character, winners.
Because that's the Company sort of mark, isn't it? And that's what Kevin De Bruyne said when he was there. He squeezed that extra bit out of you, and it's having those players around who can do that, who can actually give a team.
Like if you put Van Dijk in that team, it'd be a totally different team.
Well, I mean, you compare the two teams now, so. Man City, last season, Ederson, Company, Fernandinho, Aguero. Then you look at this year's with Liverpool, for instance, as well. Alisson, Van Dijk, Fabinho, whoever. Pick any of the front three up top. Yeah, the contrast in that, and that goes all the way back, doesn't it, to the Chelsea squads that you was in that won the leagues and stuff. That is the whole stem of it.
How do you think Pep's feeling watching his team play against Harry Maguire?
Again, that's another rumbling, isn't it? You know,
he'd be annoyed, wouldn't he?
Because the reports were that he was annoyed in the summer when they didn't quite get that deal over the line, because they were by all accounts, interested in him.
Yeah, and they missed out. Well, I say they missed out. They kind of pulled the trigger, didn't they, on Van Dijk?
Yeah.
That was obviously too much money. They thought it was going to be not a waste, but too much for them. Didn't go through with it. That's obviously looking what's happened now with that one. So they thought, right, the Harry Maguire one.
Do you think that might have anything to do with Guardiola's comments that he talked about Man United saying they've got the quality to defend, the quality attack on the counter. You have to accept that. The level we face against Liverpool, Man United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, they're the teams we have to face. And the reality is maybe we're not able to compete with them. Now, he could mean that in football terms. He could mean about going into China. Well, given that the net spend of Manchester City over the last couple of seasons is higher than
it's going to
any
be
of the
crazy
teams
for him to think he needs to spend money to
mentioned.
compete with them teams. But like you said, they don't have the backbone, I don't think.
So because like you said, Van Dijk didn't quite get over the line. If they were, I know, depending on how interested they were in him. If Maguire didn't quite get over the line and Pep Guardiola wanted that to happen, does this sound like a message then that's like, look, we've got January coming up, then we've got a big summer?
Well, again, like you look at the January window, so they've got to be. Are they buying for?
And with Laporte only being like 2 or 3 weeks away, from coming back
again,
as
there's
well.
massive pressure on him to come back and go, right, well, you need to
Be the
start
leader of the
performing.
team, really, in terms of defensively.
They never replaced Company, which was a massive error, as you say, with Maguire or not. But I mean, is this a message to his players that they need to step up? You know what he's saying about the other teams that he's comparing them to. Is that a sort of subliminal message to them to say, look, you know, we're dropping off these elite teams that I want to compete with, and you should be as well. You should, you know, we should be pulling in that direction. Because
the thing is, as much as we're saying, I mean, they're still a brilliant team, Manchester City. It's just the fact that they're 14 points off the lead in a league they've dominated over the past couple of seasons. So it's a combination of lots of smaller factors. But I suppose what they do in the transfer market is one of the ones that they can control.
I think they're going to spend. I really do think they will. They're going to. And I think they go big. Because they're going to need to go big.
They always go big, don't they?
It's silly thing to say. But they're going to go big in terms of like a centre back. I think they definitely 100% need. And he's got to come from one of the big clubs, or he's got to be an outstanding player. And he's got to be a leader. He's got to be able to like shore up the defence.
But he's kind of conceded the league, hasn't he? In an interview done last week, he said as well, didn't he? He said for Liverpool to lose it now would be disastrous. You know, we'll keep going it game by game by game, but I can't see them slipping. And I think is this January window to get somebody in to really push for Champions League, and as well as bed them in for the rest of the season, then attack next season.
Just very quickly on the title race, are Leicester the main challengers then?
Wow.
And how strong is their challenge?
But if they keep going, I mean, again, it would be a big one. No, it'd be a big one for Liverpool.
And they
to
look
throw
like
this
they're
away.
getting better as the season goes on, don't they?
I think. Listen, the confidence that they're in.
As well.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And Vardy, is he going to do the record again? I mean,
he's nearly there, isn't he? He's only a couple of games
every
away.
chance. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I enjoy watching them.
A little
bit. They play.
Not surprised, but then you're like, but a bit surprised.
But they
I think we all are a bit surprised though.
Not surprised that they've done well, but maybe surprised with how well and how quickly it's got.
But do they play Liverpool
Boxing Day?
Is it Liverpool on Boxing Day?
Yeah.
What a game that's going to be.
And then in 2 weeks' time, it's Man City.
Yeah. Wow.
But they could close the gap. I look at City and I don't think they close the gap.
Yeah.
The way they've been playing.
Very interesting. But Manchester United with the win though, and things seems. Well, I know you're a bit more cautious about it, Wayne, but may have turned the corner on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time at Manchester United. He's 2-1 to be in charge on the first day of next season, according to Paddy Power. They're already looking about planning for the summer. 11-4, though, to win a trophy this season, and 9-2 to finish inside the top four. But you look at the teams that are sort of around top four contention, and you feel like the teams around them are capable of dropping points, and they're capable of going on a run. But you could say that about any of the teams who are in contention for that. Everton, we're talking about positive stories. Duncan Ferguson's come in, gone absolutely nuts on the touchline. He had the suit, the sweatband on his wrist, Howard Kendall's watch on his other arm, apparently, And those players that looked so lacklustre for so much of the season I was speaking to an Everton podcaster the other day who was saying,
How dare you speak to another
I was cross-podcasting. and he was saying that they've been so frustrated with what they've been seeing under Marco Silva and talking about how they were similar to how they were sort of frustrated under Roberto Martinez, really. That same kind of, it looks nice, but it's not giving us anything. Yeah. And Duncan Ferguson's gone in and the players look lifted. The whole place just seemed like we know Goodison to be.
That is exactly it. Throughout my career, and same definitely with you, when you go to Goodison, to come away with Goodison with a point or even a victory,
it's a horrible place to go.
You know you've earned it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The crowd, they all play the part. You've worked there many times, obviously through TV. The atmosphere is electric, and it's just gradually gone, is it? The last sort of 2 years, and people say, "Oh, it's not the Everton way," and this and that, and it's true because it is rocking it, and that is exactly what it was. But it's mad to say, what was the stat that came up? They made 37 tackles, the most tackles that was made
in a league game in a decade.
Yeah, by them. But how can they do that? Is that a Duncan Ferguson effect?
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, Marco Silva must be watching it thinking, you throw me under the bus there, a few of you boys there a little bit.
But if he's been there, Duncan Ferguson, and been part of the setup under the last couple of managers, could he not have been doing that behind the scenes? Is it difficult?
When you've got a manager, I think there's only so much you can do if you're the assistant.
You don't want to step on his toes. Ultimately, he's the one who's calling the shots. Yeah. But
I look at assistants, they're people you can go and have a word with, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes the manager you can't. So I think you become closer to the assistant a lot of the time.
So when an assistant takes over and becomes the caretaker manager, like what is it a different relationship? And almost knowing it's temporary, does that almost help or what, in a way? Mind you, not that we don't know this isn't temporary.
No,
I mean, they've talked about it as being temporary, but
looking from the outside, I'd want to play for Duncan Ferguson, and I think it showed that the players did.
Why would you want to?
He just seems like a good guy. Do you know what I mean? Like someone, I think he'd get the players going. I think he'd have them getting their foot stuck in. I think he'd be a bit old school.
I mean, you look at he's running down. You score a goal, and you look over at the bench, and he's running down. He's hugging the ball boys. He's doing it. Do you want to see that from a manager?
That is the word there, passion. I know that's used a lot in football, but Bridges nailed it there by saying, and then what he's brought back is, I think he's brought back what it is to wear that shirt, an Everton shirt, especially at Goodison as well. When he's brought that passion back to say, look, these punters here, they pay a lot of money to come and watch you, and as long as you're giving it your all, they'll back you the whole way. And that from the very first time, from the kickoff, they was on the front foot, tackles going in, and it got the crowd going. And it wouldn't surprise me if they go on a run now at home, where they've been pretty poor at home as well the last few seasons.
You wouldn't imagine if they've had a little huddle, let's fucking do it for Big Dunk. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, my language, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did that.
I'd like it if they qualified with sorry about my language as well in the huddle. That would have been even better.
It might be that they want him to get the job, so they're going to try everything they can.
Yeah, it is, and I know you both mentioned passion, and it's one of those words that we almost kind of dismiss because it's as though if you're a passionate manager, it means that you're not a manager who thinks a lot about the game or who isn't very tactically astute. It's like you can only have one with the other. You've got to be animated
to be passionate.
Yeah, and the idea is that if you're all about the emotion, then you're not about the intelligence. And if you've got a manager who can do both, then that's the idea. Even if you look a little bit at Manchester City, and Guardiola is clearly a manager who feels everything and is passionate, but you're talking about within the dressing room, when people talk about leaders and characters, maybe sometimes that's exactly what's needed. That's just the missing ingredient.
I think the biggest thing with Duncan going in there is he's just got a presence in it. I think with him being around that background the whole time, I mean, I don't know how long he's been at the last 10 years, maybe even longer than that, in and around the background, knows the club. As you say, a lot of the players would like him, first and foremost. So if you've got a likability straight away, if that person gets in the hot seat, you're going to want to play for him, first and foremost, because you like him and you want to do well for him, regardless if he's going to be in there 1 week, 2 weeks, or he might even get the job. You're going to want to do well for yourself, first and foremost, but more so for the manager. But I mean, the celebration, how good was that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what football's all about. It's like, I see some managers now, they don't want to celebrate because they're too scared in case the other team score or they get beat. But it's all about showing a bit of emotion.
Yeah, I think as well, the work rate from the players, you'll get more work rate. No, I don't think my work rate never affected me. I'd always work hard, but I think sometimes in some players you'll see their work rate up, and I think hate to bring it, Son's goal. You think, so when you look at the players running after, and some of them look like they were strolling. I bet if it was the Everton team, they'd be busting their neck to get back.
Or certainly the Everton team that played at the weekend against Chelsea.
Yeah.
That version of them. So that's a possibility for Everton. Duncan Ferguson, depending on how things go, and they're saying temporary at the moment, but, never know how things go. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer effectively was, I know they came in, but it felt like it was a stopgap move for Manchester United. Did so well that they couldn't help but give him the job. The Paddy Power odds for the next Everton manager, Vitor Pereira, who obviously 13-5 now, but I think they came in quite short, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it seems to. David Moyes 10-3. Doesn't seem to have gone down particularly well with Everton fans who are very happy with what he did before, but feel like they want to move forward. Niko Kovac at 7-2. Duncan Ferguson's 4-1, and Eddie Howe is 14-1. Eddie Howe, boyhood Everton fan, I think, but I'm not sure that one is one that, and especially having seen Duncan Ferguson on the touchline and what he can do, and as well regarded as Eddie Howe is, it's not going to. You wouldn't get that with him.
No.
So you get a feeling that now Everton fans have had a taste of someone like Duncan Ferguson on the touchline. They'll want more of that. Interesting that Sky were reporting earlier, Unai Emery has been approached by the club.
I know. It's really.
That's don't shoot the messenger. I'm
surprised at that. I'm surprised because you say passion there. I don't see one Arsenal player having passion for that shirt. Whether that's just down to themselves or through a manager that they're not really playing for, but
I don't think they should be in a rush.
No.
I know Big Dunk hasn't says he wants the job, but it'd be good to give him quite a few games to see how they go.
Yeah, keep him in charge, rally the troops.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Just lift the whole atmosphere around the place, which maybe Arsenal were hoping that Freddie Ljungberg would be able to do, but a different character from Duncan Ferguson. Isn't he?
Freddie was like that. He was like that in both games.
You mentioned Son's goal as well, because look, everybody's talked about how brilliant that goal is. Everybody can see how brilliant that goal is. So you can get that elsewhere. But there's another side to that, which is that came in a game against Burnley, which it didn't look very Burnley-like the way they handled him, did it?
It was a great goal.
Like you can't take anything away from him.
No, absolutely not.
If I was one of the players that was with him, I like to think I would from the beginning. I'd be chasing him the whole way back. I felt like they were just half-hearted. That one of them was with him, then he passed it over to him, then passed it over to you, and then all of a sudden it just opened up for him.
I think that there's split seconds in that goal. So obviously he's picked it up and he's running. And he's running fast. And then at one point, he's got 4 or 5 Burnley players around him. So I think one of them are thinking, he's 1v5 here, surely he's not going to score from here. Whereas if it was a 1v1 or a 1v2, I think one of them would just clean him out because they know he's got more chance of getting round. Whereas they've outnumbered him for quite a while as well. They thought, well, this is all right. Then before you know it, he's out of that on goal. But then you look at Man City, and I think they've committed the most fouls because Pep says if they break, take them down. Yeah. And Jose's done that, didn't he, as well?
Pep Guardiola says they don't commit tactical fouls.
Okay.
I think everyone does. Everyone does apart from Burnley.
On that one occasion. You'll be delighted to know it is time for the Paddy Power Challenge. One of you will get the chance to win £250 for the charity of your choice, courtesy of Paddy Power. Wayne Bridge, your team won last week's challenge at our live Christmas quiz. You won the Christmas relay. So you dressed up as Father Christmas, wrapped a present and ate 3 mince pies. You gave up on the mince pies, didn't you?
I would have gave up, to be fair.
To be fair, Bobby was drinking with it. I was like, no, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to go dry. But yeah, it was a bad mistake. A bad error.
You can watch that episode on YouTube or you can download the podcast. You put your £250 bet on both teams to score in the Manchester derby.
My teammates chose that, to be fair. That's probably why we won.
So you do get a win. You get your £250 plus the winnings from your bet. This week's challenge is target practice. Right, this week's Paddy Power Challenge is target practice, but obviously that would be far too straightforward, so it's target practice with a twist. The top target is worth 3 points, the lower target is worth 1 point. Round 1, with your weaker foot. Yeah, any success with your weaker foot normally?
Yeah, I've scored from halfway line with my left foot.
Second round, we're going to have you blindfold.
That'd be no.
Yeah.
Not done that before.
I've done a no-look pass before.
Ever played dizzy?
Hungover? You've
all
been hungover before me.
I missed the ball a few times. I said I had a migraine.
So, Steve, you're up first.
Yep.
Left foot?
Left foot.
3 points at the top, 1 at the bottom.
I'm going to go for the 3, yeah. I'm not here to lay up on the 1.
Oh, it's got
Decent
left.
technique, that.
Oh.
Bit disappointed with that.
If we were playing football, darts,
I'd be happy with that. Do you know when you throw the ball with your opposite hand? You're right, that's what my right foot's like.
Oh, that I think
Is it the screen?
is that a television screen? Is that just it? Yeah.
Is that safe?
Oh,
That
it was a television screen.
Just like the arm. Quality.
So now we have to get the blindfolds out.
Blindfold. This is going to be interesting.
You were right the other day with the blindfold on at the
is-
Christmas quiz.
Yeah, there's a bell in the ball.
She's moved the ball, keys. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
I'll say that was very stealth. Quiet. Oh, my God.
Okay, so that's the wall on the side that hit.
I did hit the wall, didn't it? I want to just, smash this. I want to go all or nothing. Shall I go for a run-up or stand him? Would you
I'd
Do
go
a
right
run-up,
back
go on.
there and just try
Give
and
us
go through the
something-
middle of
give
the
us
ball. I must
something
spin it in
I'm just going to
the
go
ball.
for it. I'm just going to go for
Go
it.
spectacular.
Right, ready?
I reckon.
Come on.
I think the run-up's the way forward.
Whippy doodah. Whippy doodah.
Yeah! 3 points!
Yes!
Free, mate.
yeah.
I mean, spot on. Like, spot on.
Get in!
Oh!
It's gone for the screen again.
Oh, that went on the
Bad
wall.
though.
Was it all right?
It was
a bit of a toe pokey, like,
it was
bit
the-
like my right foot one.
It was the top. It was the top net hitting the screen.
When he told you to hit it like he meant it. Oh!
You're definitely going high.
Too high.
It's going high.
Too much
No,
back
that's
there.
your SAS training coming out now. 10 spins round the broom.
Yep.
And then there's 2 balls there, you'll have noticed.
Yep.
One after the other.
You count me. Ready?
Ready,
Yeah.
steady. 1.
9.
10.
10.
Go!
Oh,
And
TV screen, the other one.
The other one, and the other one.
Oh, he's gone left.
Oh, that's hard.
So 1 hit the wall, 1 did get there, but you've hit the wall as well. So no
that's,
points. No points.
go for it.
Right, are you ready?
Ready?
Steady.
One.
1. 9.
9.
10.
10.
Go! One after the other.
Geez, I'm so dizzy.
That's done the light.
Fucking hell, mate. Oh my God.
I don't think you've had it.
Oh my
I
God.
don't think you got either of them off the floor, to be honest.
I was struggling to stand up. And
I
kick a
saw
ball.
that. You had to brace yourself on the floor with your hand. OK, 3 all.
Yep.
We've got sudden death. You're each going to take shots at the top target with your correct foot this time. We're starting to feel a bit cruel.
Sudden death.
And we just want it over with.
Yeah.
So come on. Oh, that was
is
in.
it?
That was in. So
that
Steve's
in?
in. Got to score this one.
Pressure.
Oh,
He's done it.
They're enjoying this too much now.
Oh.
And he's missed.
What an advert for Joe Liquid football, by the way. Keep hitting me.
Oh, and this
And Paddy
again.
Power. This is the winning one. Bridget's going to miss after.
Oh, centre.
Right in the middle.
Yes! Winner! Come on.
Right, Steve, you are the winner. So what have you
Yes.
gone for as your bet?
I have gone for both teams to score.
Oh, so we're on a winning roll with
Yeah,
both
gonna
teams to
stick
score.
to it.
Yeah.
Both
His brother had a little win as well at the weekend.
He had a big win.
Man, that's unbelievable. Your brother put a bet on.
He had a £20 treble on Bristol City to beat Fulham, both teams to score. Sheffield Wednesday to beat Brentford, both teams to score and win. And then it all went on Man United to beat Man City, both teams to score. And Man United win. And on a £20 treble, we won 12,300 quid. He said he was sweating. He sent me a picture of like 3 bottles of wine on the side while I was watching it. His fingernails had gone.
Yeah.
So, hopefully this bet
I'm not
will...
sure how welcome he'd be to put your bets on for you on this.
Yeah,
now.
I don't know what he'll do with this one. Hopefully...
So, but you said to score in the first half. Man
Sorry,
United.
so I'm going to do it's
Man United, Everton.
both teams to score. Man United, Everton 7-2, but to score in the first half.
Okay, and the charity?
Is for the Lullaby Trust, which is sudden infant death syndrome for bereaved families.
This is Liquid Football on Joe, together with Paddy Power. I'm Kelly Cates, and with me Steve Sidwell and Wayne Bridge. If you like what you see and hear, then please leave us a nice review on YouTube and or iTunes. In this week's TKO, Carl Frampton answered back to the criticism from George Groves that he was hanging on to maintain the status of a professional boxer.
It's bullshit, isn't it?
You sort of stoked the fire when Callum Smith was on a few weeks ago, because you said, I think George might have quit. I remember looking at you thinking, I know you don't probably necessarily mean that, but
Do you know what? I don't mean it. Would I class George Groves as a quitter? No. I was having a dig.
Because of what's happened.
Because of what's happened before.
Right.
And
Tell me
people
what's
may say
happened.
unfairly, but I don't think it was unfair.
Right, well then, take
main
to
reason
the
he
top.
tried to embarrass me. But anyway, Tommy Coyle was fighting on the AJ undercard. I'm getting really animated here. I can feel myself. Tommy Coyle was fighting on the AJ undercard in New York, AJ Ruiz.
Yeah.
I had to walk through a room to get into Tommy Coyle's change room, and I walked through this room, and George was there with there was another couple of guys from JD.
Josh Denzel?
Him. He was a Love Island guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he's nice.
And there was a few people in the room. So George and like that Josh fella and a few other people. And I walked over and says, "How you doing, George?" Like, trying to say hello. And he just went, like, blanked me, complete me, and embarrassed me in front of these people. I remember walking out of the room thinking, what a fucking prick.
Oh, so that's when it was in New York. It wasn't it when I said to you, there's an award ceremony.
It was in New York.
It was in New York.
TKO with Carl Frampton is available to watch on YouTube or to download from your usual podcast provider. And remember to check out Joe's other shows, House of Rugby with James Haskell, who is now available, and Pioneers with John Amici. There is something else we need to touch on from the weekend, which is Newcastle, who are ahead of the Monday night game in the top half of the Premier League table under a manager that Newcastle fans weren't that excited about bringing to St James's Park. So happy with the job that Rafa Benitez did, but they're 9 points better off than they were at this stage last season under Rafa Benitez. When do we start to give him some serious credit for the job he's doing there?
I think he'll only get credit if they finish in the Premier League, and where they finish in the Premier League. Well, if they're safe in the Premier League, he'll get credit. But up until then, it should be now.
Yeah. Don't get too excited, I say.
Yeah, it can.
Well, they've got a couple of weeks.
They have
got an
done well,
assist.
yeah.
They're all kind of, everybody's off the mark now. Well, ish.
Considering when he took the job, him being a Geordie as well, isn't he? Massive Newcastle fan, big job for him. Was shot down early doors before a ball was even kicked. Didn't start off great, and now it's just turned for him. But as we know in this league, it can turn around and bite you in the arse very, very quickly. But at the moment, they're enjoying it. St James's Park is wrong. Is it called St James's Park still or not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, because there was the whole thing about Brandy, but no, they did. No.
So,
it didn't stick.
Yeah.
What you say Newcastle are happy with, though?
What, as in their fans?
As in at the end of the season, are they happy to still be in the league? Do they think, where do they think they should be?
No, they don't. Newcastle fans get really annoyed about this because people say, well, Newcastle fans think that they should be winning trophies and challenging for the top four, and then they're like, we're not. We want our team to come out to show a bit of effort, to put a bit of a show for us at St James's Park.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they know where they are. The rowers with the owner, and they're happy to back the manager. I think it was anyone who came in after Rafa Benitez, wasn't it? Because they felt like they'd really taken his side.
I'm just pleased for Steve Bruce. Real likeable character. I've come across him a few times, and it's nice that he's doing
Another
well.
one, I think the players want to do well for him.
Yeah.
And they are doing well so far.
Yeah.
But a little bit of a tough run of games coming up, so we thought we'd get this in nice and early. A little bit early, Steve, because they will. It's going to be an up and down season. You're not going to have consistency if that's where you are in the table. So there will be bumps, but at the moment they're on the upward turn. Last Monday, did you see this? There was a draw for the third round of the FA Cup. So Port Vale are up against Manchester City. Their strikers, Port Vale striker Tom Pope, in the summer went on Twitter and said, I've just watched the highlights of the England game. I know I'm a League Two player and I know he plays for England and I know he's on 150,000 a week. I know he's a million times better than me, but I'd love to play against John Stones every week. I'd get 40 a season and he might well get his chance to play against John Stones. And he hashtag soft, hashtag weak as piss. That's punchy.
Yeah. I mean, if that's me, if I'm John Stones and I'm going to be playing that game, I'm leaving a bit on him straight away.
100%.
And I'm going to be all out to mark him out of the game.
Yeah.
It would get my back
I
up
think
there.
you can expect comments about your performance sometimes from fans and press, but from a player, whatever
quite
division
punchy on
he's in,
Twitter,
it's a bit
Tom.
much for me.
But afterwards, so recently when people have started sending him that old tweet back to him, he put a little tweet out saying, yeah, I mean, he's improved dramatically. I think he's the best centre-half in the world now.
It's a good reply. It's a good reply.
But you don't want to be coming up against him, do you?
Unless, I don't know, he might just be one of them guys who's got so much confidence it doesn't bother him.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
I think to make comments like that, you've got to have a bit about you.
Yeah.
But if you're playing in Division 2, I can't see you competing against.
If you're in the dressing room with John Stones and you're going into the Port Vale game, are you having a little word with John Stones? Are you starting to think, well, you're up against Tom Pope today?
Yeah, but I think with John Stones, as much as he's a good defender going forward, I think he's going to try and just pop it through his legs he'd rather come out of the ball and just pop it through his legs
make him
and then
look
just
stupid.
Yeah, he will do. But I mean, it's brave saying that, especially on social media when he knows it can turn around and bite you back in the backside.
I just hope he has a good game.
Either way,
it can. Depends what type of player. You might go in there being a bit nervous, thinking this geezer better not get the better of me. But you like to think he's good enough player to think this is going to be easy.
No disrespect to him. I've not heard of him. I don't even know if he's a good player or not.
Who?
Pope.
I wouldn't have a Scooby, mate.
Nah.
I wouldn't have a Scooby.
Sorry, Popey.
He'd be bettering me and you now.
You're doing John Stones' work for him now, aren't you? But when you were at like Chelsea and Arsenal, you're going into games, or you've got like an FA Cup tie, and it's against sort of lower league opposition.
They're tough game.
But do you get players who are maybe a bit chippier than their level would suggest or their level would allow?
I think they want to leave a bit on you sometimes.
Yeah, they are. They're like, you're shit. How did you get a move here?
They think they should be up there. They do.
Yeah.
You do.
Do they see the difference between what makes a top flight player and a lower league player? Do they see what, like, if you're saying you think they should be there, is it because they don't understand the gap that it is there?
Yeah.
Is that
I
why?
think no, I see the gap is if you go to the away game and the pitch isn't very good, it can even things out a little bit. But I think if you play at home on a decent pitch, I think you can notice the difference then, how much better you are.
Yeah. I think it all depends on where that draw is. As you say, if it's a home tie, you can say anything you want because you know one, that lad's going to be bang up for it, and then it's, as you say, it's an even playing field. But I mean, you look at when Burton went to Man City a couple of years ago, was it last season? You know, for a fact their lads ain't putting it out on Twitter.
Yeah,
because they know they're going to get dicked 0-0.
Yeah.
But talking of putting people off, did you see in the Merseyside derby from Moise Keane was through on goal, and Virgil van Dijk, for all that he's very sophisticated, for all that he's just finished second in the Ballon d'Or, for all of this, and the best defender in the world and all that, he just went up in his face and screamed at him to put him off.
Happens all the time.
Happens.
What, a lot?
All the time.
Yeah, I think everyone does it.
All the time.
He's got a great one.
All the time. When I remember Bobby Zamora doing it all the time. When sometimes when the ball just gets smashed in the air and everyone's just sort of waiting for it either to bounce, he just used to go, He'll just come through and get it. Kevin Muscat was one. Kevin Muscat played against him at Millwall, and he had the whistle in the bag where he didn't even use his fingers. He just had like he literally just like used to blow his lips, and it would sound exactly like a referee's whistle. And the game would just stop, and the winger would be running, and then they look at the referee, and the referee would be like, "I didn't fucking blow the whistle." And Muzzy would just get the ball and just like take it, and he'll be laughing as he took the ball.
So anyone who can whistle now is going to be using that.
Yeah, it was a loud whistle. It was like little like.
They want to be at home practicing their whistle.
Oh, brilliant!
But did you do that? Did you go up just to scream in someone's face? And that's like,
I don't. The only thing I've ever done is just say leave it,
right.
Watch the player leave it.
Yeah.
That's all it's come down to me. Or shout man on when there isn't a man on them and things like that. That's the only thing I've ever done.
But do people fall for it?
Yeah.
Because I would imagine a lot of that goes on.
I wouldn't say they fall for it every time, but yeah.
It's a last gasp effort, isn't it? Especially for a defender when someone's got by them and then you know that they're in on goal or they're shooting, you're like, the last thing you can do is just shout because you can't get near them to tackle them. So you just anything I can do, just like, ah!
Have you ever been done by it?
I've not been done by a shout.
Remember.
I've not been on.
You wouldn't remember either if you're like, no, never been caught out with that.
I would remember actually. Because it would bug me.
I done Jamie Curran once for Reading QPR when Ian Holloway was manager, and I done a shouted over. And he let it go. He was actually running into the box as well when he was going to score. Yeah. And I shouted over and he left it, and I got the ball and he chased me back and then hacked me down, got a straight red. Ian Holloway went mad about it, saying Steve Sidwell needs to get done on it. So
it was your fault.
Oh, it was my fault. Yeah. Was it classed under now? Gamesmanship? Is it? Is that?
Oh, okay. Yeah. But that's all. That's all right, though, isn't
People,
it?
they must happen week in, week out.
Yeah.
It's just I just like the fact that it's this cultured footballer. Who's just the last gasp. I'm just going to throw everything at this. That is it. Talking about throwing everything at it for this week's episode of Liquid Football from Joe, together with Paddy Power. Thank you very much to Wayne Bridge and to Steve Sidwell. We're available in the loosest possible times every Monday. You can download the podcast or watch us on YouTube. Please leave us a review on iTunes if you like what you hear. We've also got a Facebook page. If you search for Liquid Football, you can join in the chat for that. And don't forget, you can check out our other shows as well. House of Rugby with the newly free James Haskell, TKO with Carl Frampton, and Pioneers with John Amici. Thank you for listening.
You've been watching Liquid Football on Joe, sponsored by Paddy Power.